David Ornstein recently revealed in an article regarding Arsenal's summer plans that the club will try to improve and become more proactive in their academy strategy, which is definitely an area of necessity. We can't stand still as we'll fall even further behind the likes of Chelsea and Man City in terms of academy performance. Now before I get started, Arsenal have talent in the academy, that's not the issue. The likes of Ethan Nwaneri, Miles Lewis-Skelly and Max Dowman are some of the best talents at their respective age groups. Per Mertesacker has done a great job overseeing the academy for a number of years, but a restructuring is needed and we need to take more risk. The player I want to touch on in particular is Chido Obi Martin, who scored 32 goals for the under-18s, breaking a club record previously set by Balogun. The Chido Obi Martin situation and rumours of Bayern Munich's interest is something that I'm not massively concerned about, even though there is a possibility of him leaving. Before a player turns 17 and can actually be offered a professional contract, there is always that danger of them being lured away. The potential departures of Kozia Dubry and Raul Waters are what interest me, as their development should have been managed better with loans for the players, ensuring that they play men's football before turning 19. The situation with Amari Hutchinson is another interesting one, and how even though he hasn't been given a pathway at Chelsea, which we always assume would be the case, they're still going to make 25 million out of that deal, which is a kick in the teeth for Arsenal. The academy is a huge opportunity to raise funds as well, which we've seen with Manchester City in the past few years. Fans might not like selling young prospects due to sentiment, but if you've got a buyback clause inserted, then so be it. Clubs have to comply with PSR regulations these days, and an academy is a huge source to progress in that manner. Just look at some of the City sales with the likes of Palmer, Lavia, Trafford, Taylor Harwood-Bellis, Edozie and Tommy Doyle. Similarly with Chelsea, I don't need to list off all the academy talents that they've sold in the past few years because I'd be here all night, but they're very focused on this idea of pure profit because it's usually beneficial on the books to meet financial fair play regulations. Both of these clubs have managed to generate huge revenue from academy sales as the result of reputations their young players come with. And for a club like us who struggle to get good fees for players, improving the talent pool of our academy could go a long way in terms of raising funds. So since this Athletic article regarding the restructuring of our academy, what changes have we seen? So far we've seen links in Ireland to 16-year-old Mason Melia, a highly rated player who's been playing senior football in Ireland for the last year. We've also seen young central defender Braden Clark signed from Wolves. Another factor I wanted to touch on was how we're not as strong as Chelsea and City with their presence in South America. Without sounding naive, their strategy that these clubs adopt is simple. Forget the risk, which an Arsenal would assess, sign the best players, and if 1 in 5 turns out to be a superstar, then it's a win. Chelsea's ability to attract the likes of Ostavio Willian and Kendry Paez ahead of Real Madrid and Barcelona is definitely something to take notice of. But Arsenal's acquisition of new South American scout from Real Madrid, Paulo Xavier, will hopefully allow us to pick up higher level talent than the likes of Marquinhos in recent years. Man City's signing of Kevin Sullivan and Claudio Echeverri are two signings I wanted to focus on. In particular, the 14-year-old American, and how extensive City's scouting is, with the club focusing on securing these talents before the biggest clubs in the world can sign him. Chelsea have led in the academy scene for the last decade now, and it's only recently where City have caught up through huge investment. Just look at all of the elite level talents at academy level, and it's very rare that they started at Chelsea or City. Both clubs are at the top of their game in their national scouting departments, and also commit large tribunal fees when it comes to signing young players. If Arsenal want to compete and develop as a project, we need more talent coming through. The retention of Ethan Nwaneri following Chelsea and City's concrete interest was definitely a start. The talk at the time was that City and Chelsea were offering huge wages to Ethan, which I'm not advocating for Arsenal to start doing, but it's definitely an area where investment is needed. Another issue is the chances we give these academy players, given the new heights our first team has reached. If you look at Saka, Smith-Rowe, Nelson and Nketiah, even Willock and Balogun, these players broke through due to the ability to rotate in the Europa League group stages. We no longer have these occasions to rest first team players, so minutes for young players are few and far between. Just take a look at Liverpool's Carabao Cup run and general providing of numerous debuts to young players where Klopp put full faith in the likes of Dans, Quansah, Bradley, Kumas, Clark, Nioni and McConnell. Now it must be noted that some of these guys are 20 years old and much more ready for senior football than an Ethan Nwaneri. But I do expect the integration of Ethan Nwaneri, as I think he's an elite level talent who the club rate highly. I just wouldn't be too keen to rush him in, as at the end of the day, he is a child. And as we've learnt from Pep Guardiola with Phil Foden, you need to ease these players in and give them time to develop. Overall, it's something to definitely keep an eye on, as we as fans would love to see more opportunities and the club to benefit from the inclusion of young players. If you enjoyed the video, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.